I actually feel this is what I should be doing. Squeeze the essence out of it and put it down in a very elegant and simple way. You know, I'm going to take Potluck that I've got it.
There are warnings of gales in Viking, north at Sierra, south at Sierra, Forties, Portland, Plymouth, Biscay.
The start of the day is absolutely crucial. I'm usually up at about 6 o'clock, 5:30. The idea that I could make a living out of art was just a joke in a family of butchers. It was an incredibly fertile place, and the staff stood back and just let it happen. It was very experimental. You know, the great things of art are the human figure and the landscape it lives in. I'm just trying to get a resonance of humanity. There it is. Just help yourself. Some days I have a really big production day, and today's one of those. I always start off with a good bowl of porridge. Porridge was a thing that I had every morning before I went to school from being about the age of 3. And old habits die hard. It's very important that you get into the right state of mind, so I'm just really thinking about what I'm going to do. I'm actually taking myself back and remembering being out on the boat, remembering the image, remembering the feeling of it, and just, even though I'm here right in the middle of London, mentally I'm right out on the top, off the top of the Shetlands. When I first came to Bermondsey, I was brought up in a very industrial and working area just south of the bridge in Leeds. And this is a similar area. It somehow felt very much like home, you know. I felt very comfortable here. It had been a warehouse. Nobody had ever lived in this building before. It was incredibly run down when I first moved in about 30 years ago. I also wanted somewhere with space. An etching studio is a factory, really. It seemed to me that in this building I could set up a proper etching workshop, and we turned the top 2 floors into a home. And so I lived above the shop, which is a great tradition in the Ackroyd family in Yorkshire. South Leeds is very much the working class area of Leeds. My father was a butcher. And it's very, very, very hard work. It was assumed that we had to help out in the family business. That was my childhood. My elder brothers and my father, they all thought it was a joke. When you don't make a living out of art. My 2 great bulwarks were my mother and my art teacher at grammar school, who had identified me as somebody who really wanted to do it, and gave me the keys to the art room and the keys to the materials cupboards in the art room. That was serious encouragement. So we were told if we wanted to live in this building that we'd got to put a fire stair here. But it also becomes a nice gallery, and one can hang a big picture here with see it from up there and see it from down below. There's a little etching here of Stackley and Stackenarmin at St Kilda. I let my assistant choose to keep changing what's in here, and she brings out things I'd forgotten I'd done sometimes. That is the Bishop Rock in the Scilly Isles, the most southwesterly point of the British Isles. If you go to the extreme northern point of the British Isles, which is the northern point of the Shetland Isles, there's a little run of rocks with a lighthouse on it. It's called Muckleflugger. It's absolutely spectacular. And this is really an image that I absolutely love. I've been wanting to do this big copper plate of the image for a long time. Really, I've been drawing on this plate now on and off for 3 or 4 days. The first etchings were done on armour. The king would have his armour all engraved, you know, to make it look good. And the next level down in society would have it etched. It's a little bit like, you know, going to Burton's for your suit. Engraving is engraved with a V-shaped tool, cutting into the metal, rather than cutting into the metal with acid. Etching is engraving with acid. It's a great medium. I just love the medium of etching. I've never tired of it from when I first did it 50 odd years ago. A print from an etching, of course, is a reverse of the plate. It prints from the plate. It's a direct print. And so when you're working from drawings or something that needs to be the right way around, and you want some kind of reference, you've got to take that reference in the mirror so that it's the same way around as the plate. I don't think about the marks I'm making. I let the marks happen. There's a huge desire to make the marks. That's the heart. I let the eye look at it and the hand just do what the eye and heart wants. And I just respond to it because I feel I want to do it. So it's very instinctive. I want to just have a look and see. Oh, I think that's got to be right. Got to be right. I'm sure I've got it. This is almost, to me, you see, a bit like music. It's very abstract, this. Although it's hanging on a particular piece of geology, it's actually, I'm after something that is abstract. I'm not after representing this. Ultimately, everything I do has got an abstract basis. I mean, that one is two triangles. But it's a very abstract image if you look at it.
I can see it.
And there is that kind of something in it, you know, in most of the things that I do that it's got a kind of balance, but it's based on something that really exists, and I quite like that, you know. I was very, very lucky to arrive at the Royal College of Art in 1961. I arrived at the Royal College of Art for my first term, and I don't think anybody could understand a word I said. There seemed to be all sorts of really fashionable, smart people. They'd all been watching too much Noel Coward or something. You know, at first it was quite frightening. But I gradually looked at what everybody was doing and I think, well, I'm as good as all this lot. Better, maybe. The Royal College of Art became the centre of so much in the 60s. you know, art, music and everything. It was really blossoming. People were going off in all sorts of directions. It was the pop art movement. I did all sorts of funny things like, you know, but generally landscape was always what, you know, I get excited by. Right. This really is the etching factory. This is where all the acid work goes, the printing, mainly drawing on the floor above, drawing of the plates and things. Here we do all the processing of the copper. I've just ground up some very fine pine resin and I want to lay a very fine layer of it on that plate. Aquatint is almost like a random halftone. You let the resin fall on the plate very evenly and then you melt it. I'll be melting it with the gas poker. Then it looks like the surface of a sort of fine sandpaper, and then when the acid acts on it, it gets in between the dots. It's almost like a wash. It's almost like watercolour if you do it properly. The resin comes in lumps like that. It's the resin that you rub on violin bows. So it's very brittle. And we grind it and then we know it's really fine and dry, because I want to get a really beautiful fine aquatint on the plate. There was always a problem with etching and engraving, how to get whole areas of tone. In Rembrandt's time, Rembrandt just used to cross-hatch by furring up the plate. But there's arguments about who first invented aquatint. The French say it was them, but I've seen aquatints that were done in this country in about 1670. So I put some of it in the box, and this box has got a paddle wheel in it, which really activates the resin. And it comes down like a beautiful, even layer of snow on the plate. And then we wind the paddle wheel. That resin that I've just ground is now up there. When I open the door, you'll see the cloud of resin. That's perfect. Now it should be ready in about 10 minutes, but it doesn't matter if it's there for 3 or 4 hours. All right? All that happens is the really fine stuff carries on settling. This is Jose's. This is my cafe. Oh, by 1 o'clock this place is shoulder to shoulder. So I'll come in while it's quiet and maybe have a read of the paper and think about what I've been doing, and then I'm probably going out just as it's getting solid, you know. It's absolutely stunning, and it's a great bonus for me because it's just across the road. If I've been up since 5:30 working, sometimes if I've had a really good morning, I think, well, that's it, and I'll come and have really nice 2 or 3 tapas here, and then I maybe go and do something quieter in the afternoon. When people come to see me, I bring them in.